Hey, good morning. What the fuck? Alright, I don't know if this is gonna work. Alright. We'll see if this works. For some reason, my internet connection has been like really wild. Don't get it. Alright, so good morning. It's a little bit before 6:15. I figured I would get my walk on a little bit earlier because, well, I just have the time to do it. So here we are with, it's not Mornings with Mizzy, it's my walking pad confessions. And we talk all sorts of stuff. So when you see this, say hello, say good morning, any kind of topic you want to talk about. Lifestyle, every day, mental health, any questions about myself, whatever it may be. So yesterday was a really great day. It was the start of the week, and I did get on the walking pad. We started our weekly podcast yesterday morning, excuse me, and I think it was really great for a Monday. A lot of people were logged on, kind of getting their day started, which was really great. And then I kind of had some time to chill in between walking pad and getting ready for work, so I kind of just was mellow for a few minutes and took my time to decompress before having to get dressed and stuff like that. I did not do an outfit of the day yesterday. I figured let me do something different, so I'm kind of going back and forth on all the different things that I'm posting in my story, kind of taking you on the daily kind of whatever of myself. Good morning, Bill. Oh, time to dive into your radio show. That sounds exciting. Tell us all about it whenever you have the opportunity to do so. Yesterday's workday was really great. Super easy. Mondays are usually the busiest day because we're kind of gearing up from what was pending on Friday and just getting the accounting office kind of in order or whatever. So yesterday went relatively quick. After work, I went to the food store, and when I came home, I did some meal prepping. Good morning, James. Good morning, Kermit. It's been like 2 weeks since I've done some meal prepping. It might have even been longer than that, and it's no bueno. Spencer and I are trying really hard to stay on track with our fitness and all that kind of stuff. And this weekend we just went completely haywire. So back on track yesterday. So I just went, I got our typical things, and I made my lunches for the week, which was really great. I like just having stuff ready to pull. Like, I hate cooking dinner every single day. So if I could do batch cooking and have everything pretty much ready for the week, and we could just like heat stuff up or have it ready to go, it just makes it so much easier for me. So that's what I spent yesterday doing, like marinating my chicken, things like that, whatever. And then it was Spencer's parents' anniversary, so we went to dinner with them to celebrate, which was delicious. I had this really amazing strawberry parfait for dessert. Oh my god, it was so good. Which is going to be the last delicious snack because now I just have cottage cheese and pineapple, and then I prepped some Greek yogurt with PB2 in it, which I'll just throw some chocolate chips in it and make it like a sweet decadent snack for quote-unquote ice cream. And then today is kind of just back at it. I go to work. After work is over, I'm going to clean the house up a little bit, and then I'm going to start working on my April recap vlog. That will be everything that we did in April, some photos. You can kind of go through the tour. So that's what I'll be doing today. So yesterday I put up a thread on like ask me anything that you want, because I figured that would give me a really great head start for these morning sessions. If there's something specific that you would like to hear about or whatever, it just makes this a little bit easier. And let's not forget, the reason why I am doing this is for mental health, not specifically for losing weight or anything like that. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I talk heavily about the downfall of mental health and how much it takes to get yourself back in a healthy place after having bad episode is like kind of what I call them. So that's why I'm doing these. And my goal is to always get my rings on my watch closed. That to me means that I'm doing everything that I possibly can to keep myself functional and healthy in my day, because it gives me kind of parameters to meet. So I go on a walking pad and I have to hit 10,000 steps a day. Oh, it's a lot of work. You'll probably hear me say that every single time we go on these lives. Yes, it is a lot of work for you to get your steps in, but it's super important. I make sure I just like get up to go get some water, refill my cup, whatever it may be, anything to get steps in, anything to get movement in. Good morning, John. So yesterday, on the discussion thread that I was asking questions about, somebody had asked me, like, where would I be now in life if I wasn't in the lifestyle? And I thought that was a really great question. Good morning. Yes, Taco Tuesday. Who doesn't love tacos? So somebody was asking, if it wasn't in the lifestyle current day, what would my life look like? And I thought that was a really great question, because I've obviously gone through some ups and downs over the last couple of years. So for those of you that are new to my page, let's do a quick little reminder. 8 years ago, I left my husband to be with Spencer. I didn't leave my husband to be with Spencer, but I left my husband and immediately started dating Spencer. And that was something because my ex-husband was an alcoholic and he suffered crazy from PTSD, and life was really hectic and crazy and insane, which has left me with a lot of mental health battle wounds that I need to deal with on a daily basis, which is not very fun, but managing through. So at that time, when I met Spencer, I was on an exit plan from my relationship at that time. My exit plan was to ensure I get my stepson to graduate high school. And when I met Spencer, my stepson had one more year left of school to go before he graduated. And so my mission was make sure he's a functional adult, that he can take care of himself, and that we are good to go in life, because I never wanted to leave him, right? Morning, Scott. Morning, David. So I had a plan where I worked my ass off so I could financially support myself, because that was key. I wanted to leave the marriage with no debt. I wanted to leave my ex-husband with no debt. I wanted to leave with as clean of a break as possible, so there was nothing tying us to each other. The only thing that really was tying us to each other was our house. And I was not going to ask for anything having to do with the house, because number one, we got it on a VA mortgage. So for me, I feel like those were all his benefits, and that was his house. And my mother-in-law at the time gave us a hefty down payment for the house itself, because we had just gone through Hurricane Sandy. We had lost everything that we owned, and we're kind of starting from the beginning, which was not fun in itself. Morning, Craig. So she was like, listen, this is going to be your inheritance money part of, so why don't you just take it, put it towards the house, and that's that. So for me, I didn't really feel like that house was mine in any kind of which way. That was theirs. That's totally cool. The reason why we bought that house in that area was so that my stepson could keep going to his school without changing elementary schools or anything of the sorts. So that was kind of, that's all yours. The only thing I asked for was don't touch my 401k. I earned that money, everything fair and square. Everything that was contributed was from my paycheck. So in this time frame, I was building the exit plan. Financially stable, get the stepson to graduation, and then leave the marriage. When I look back on it, I wonder if I really I don't know what you're saying, Clay. You always say the most fucked up, ridiculous things. Anyways, when I look back on it, though, I really wonder, it's really interesting. When you're in such a detrimental relationship, it's like you're in a fucked up relationship, but then it becomes second nature. It becomes everything that's the only thing that you know. And you don't really realize how fucked up it is until after you're out of it, right? So at that time, yeah, even though my plan was to get my stepson to graduation, had I not met Spencer, I probably would still be in that relationship in some sort of composition or another. See, when I met Spencer, I was pretty much like at my wit's end with my marriage, and so I started going out on my own. I started to just kind of like create my own life, which caused a lot of fucking chaos at home, let me tell you, between extensive binge drinking and then the fighting and inquisitive behavior that came when I would come home was a goddamn fucking nightmare and very scary at times. So I feel like I would have continued on that path because, number one, where was I going to go? What was I going to do? Did I really have the guts and balls to migrate out on my own? I don't know. At that time, my house was set up as a mother-daughter. There was two entrances, one that went straight to the upstairs and one that went to our regular floor. So my mindset was, all right, you fucking live downstairs, I'll live upstairs, and that's that. That was what my thoughts were as my stepson was going to be graduating high school. But then I met Spencer, like I said, 1 year before this exit plan was going to be. And Spencer kind of just showed me that there was a different way of living. And even though I started my separation internally and my distance and whatever, he really motivated me. And he didn't even say anything, right? He didn't say, leave your marriage. He didn't say, do this or do that. Like, we just were chilling and just whatever. If you remember, my aunt brought me to a swingers meet and greet, and that's how we met. I'm really thankful that I met Spencer because it did give me the ultimate motivation to say, this is not healthy, and I realize how fucked up this marriage is. And that's really difficult because when you live with an alcoholic, the alcoholic is very different than the sober person and is very conflicting. But then you got to go and figure out what's safe and what's good and whatever. And our lives were spent with him being more intoxicated than not. So when I met Spencer and I realized there was this, I don't know, I'm going to block him after this because he comes on here all the time and just babbles a whole bunch of bullshit. On one hand, I'm like, okay, continue on because you're just popping my shit into the algorithm. And on the other hand, I can't watch it because it gets so confusing when I'm trying to talk and read and make sure I'm answering what I'm supposed to be. So anyways, Spencer just showed me that there was this other world. And this other world was so, not outrageous, but fun, exhilarating. There was so much to explore, right? Like, I get to be sexual. And, in my marriage, I was not able to be sexual at all. I wasn't able to wear form-fitting clothes. I wasn't allowed to do anything that brought attention to my feminine physique or people thinking I'm pretty in any kind of way. That would immediately lead to intense arguments and different things. So to be with Spencer and him be so secure, I could be naked, I could, do this, and it's fine. You start to think about how much of my life did I give up, and how much of myself did I give up, and how much of myself was I not. But you can't go backwards, and you can't feel mad, or you can't take back anything that you've done, right? It makes everything who we are today and where we're meant to be. And I am really happy that I went through all of that stuff, because it made me a strong ass individual who can handle a lot of things and take care of a lot of things and understand empathy and a lot of different things. Now though, has it made me mentally unsound? Yeah. Do I have a lot of triggers? I do. And there are things that I didn't even really realize, and they just come up out of nowhere. But living in a free environment, and living in a space where I can kind of fluctuate and flow and kind of just be me, I've been able to work through all of that and put myself on a path of a healthy routine and things like that. It has taken a long time to get there, but I love the lifestyle because it allows me to be who I am and what I want to be on whatever particular day. You know, people think that when you get into the lifestyle, you have to be, you know, a swinger at all times. You have to be out banging all the time. You have to be out doing all these different things all the time. And that's not true. You know, like, if you love to craft and you say your hobby is crafting, are you out fucking sewing and, you know, crocheting every second of every day? No, you're not. Morning, Dusty. It's the same thing with the lifestyle. Yeah, there are some that are frequent swingers and are out every single weekend and doing their thing, but then there are others who just like to be naked, who like the environment, who just want to feel the sexual vibrations, who love to dress up, who is into voyeurism or exhibitionism or, you know, like kink. Who knows? There is an array of reasons why people are in the lifestyle. Now, at this point in time, initially, when I got into the lifestyle, I was really enthusiastic about being who you are, exploring every avenue of what you think makes you thrive, and really took under this like educational aspect of the lifestyle. That was 8 years ago, and shit has changed. 8 years ago, when I first started in the lifestyle, it was still underground, right? It was still kind of secretive. It was not mainstream like it is now. So the mentality was very different. You really were only talking about it in private groups. We were not out in the public forum. It was very secretive still. COVID happened, and the only thing that we were left to do was to go to social media. That's when you had the outrageous boom of TikTok and all of the swinger influencers that came from TikTok, but really fantasized and romanticized what the swingers lifestyle was and is. Because of that, now you have everybody and their fucking mother who thinks that they're a swinger, but you're not. Maybe you're in the lifestyle, maybe you want to explore it at your own pace, but you have to understand what you want, what you're looking for, what, you know, makes you thrive, and what you're looking to get out of the lifestyle. It is going to be very different for every single one of us. So, yeah, initially, we've kind of gone through variations because we are not that typical swinger relationship. We are more friends with benefits. So, you know, like our relationship started with a couple, soft swapping, different things, same room, different things like that. That couple separated, and then it just became a very single guy relationship. So for pretty much the entire COVID time period, we were doing threesomes with me, Spencer, and our single guy. And that was amazing. It gave me the opportunity to sexually explore. It gave me the opportunity to understand these dynamics. It gave me the opportunity to really tap into my sexual side of things. And that made me feel really exhilarated, empowered. I was like, this is amazing. It was amazing that Spencer and I could participate in an activity such as that with somebody else, and we still bond on such an extreme level. People don't understand that mentality. If you're not sexually free individual and have an open mindset, it's going to be very challenging for you to understand the compersion aspect of things, right? And compersion is when you feel enjoyment from your partner being happy and feeling pleasure and all that kind of stuff. I don't know the exact definition, but in this realm of things, compersion is one of those things. Spencer loves seeing me with another guy, so to me, it's like a little bit of compersion, but a little bit of my own sexual desires too. And then, as time goes on, relationships morph and change, and then a single female came into the picture. And then we had an ongoing relationship with a single female. And that was really great for a while. And then that dissipated, and then another single female came. And then in between, there were some single guys, but these were all really our friends, sort of. We don't really bring in a lot of outside individuals. I don't really go to the parties and look for individuals at parties. Maybe if we're not hosting and we're at an event, just like as party goers, that's different. But I don't establish relationships with people over social media and start exchanging photos and stuff like that in Messenger. If I have not physically met you in person, I am not chatting with you on social media. There are so many catfishers out there. There's so much ridiculousness that goes on. I'm certainly not sharing photos. Morning, Carlos. None of that stuff. So I work in a very particular way, and that is okay. It's okay for you to work the lifestyle in any which way you want. So for me, had I not joined the lifestyle, had I not discovered this freedom to be who I am and changing every day at that, who I was a couple years ago on these lives is certainly not the same person that I am today on these lives. And that's all right. We are allowed to grow. We are allowed to change. We're allowed to shift. If we were staying still, something would be really wrong. But I do know, chances are, I probably would still be in that ridiculous relationship, trying to figure out how to officially make the move to leave. When you have to make choices of things that you don't want to do, it makes it really hard, right? So at that time, I knew if I leave this marriage, I'm leaving everything. And ultimately, that meant my stepson, that meant giving up everything that I created for 15 years and worked my ass off for. The house that we lived in, my ex-husband spent more time wasted than he did helping me fix it up. So, I feel like that space was mine. I feel like I worked my ass off for this. I feel like I spent every blood, sweat, tears making the exterior look great. So many different things. And it's a really hard realization to say, all right, today's the day, you gotta walk away. You need to get the fuck out, or this is gonna be not great. And I did that. So on the day that I took my stepson for his road test and he passed was the day that I packed my things and I moved to the apartment complex down the block. Now, through the ups and downs of it all, I had a short relationship with my stepson, and I have not had one with him in a while, and that really breaks my heart. I feel like I gave up everything, and I would never say this to him, but I feel like I gave up everything to make sure he was safe and to make sure he grew up to be an amazing individual. And it's really shitty that he is not here anymore with me. It makes my heart break. Last Monday, I think it was, I did a live after work because that was the first day that I was scheduling to do these, and a weird scenario popped up with my stepson, which triggered me hardcore. So if you watched the live, I was crying on it because it just broke my heart, right? Like, I love that boy, and makes me sad that I don't ever get to see him or talk to him or know what he's up to or anything. At the same time, I value my independence, I value my freedom, I value somebody that respects and loves me, I value somebody that allows my freak side to come out. I value being safe and feeling calm, and it's a really hard shift. So nervous system regulation is critical, and it's really hard to get there. You know, it's really hard. So I have CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. It is from living in constant stress or whatever, chaos for an extended period of time. And until you really deep dive and go through all of it and pull it out and understand all the things that make you sad, that make your mind go crazy, that make you feel not well, until you do all that, you're never going to be a sound individual. Now, I've done all this work, and I continue to do the work. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to get triggered from all of these things. You know, I value that I'm in, it sounds so crazy for me to say this, but I value that I'm in a place where I can drink, I could do drugs, I could do whatever the fuck I want, and not have to think about, oh, this is the wrong thing because, you know, he's drinking, or I need to be sober because I need to have 15 different plans just in case whatever's going to happen. It's a very different way of living. So, yeah, I am really happy that my life became what it is and where I am now. It has been a goddamn struggle and very chaotic, but I stand here today in a very different mindset, and that's let freedom ring. That's, we're gonna fucking be whoever the fuck we are, and I am never going to let anybody make me feel bad, make me feel like I am less than. I'm never gonna let anybody tell me yes, no, or anything of the sorts. I am good on all of that. I have gone through enough mental breakdowns over the last 2 years that I'm good. I sit here today and am in a very solid place. And that also took some shifts within the lifestyle too. So yes, I am still in the lifestyle, and yes, we will always participate in the lifestyle. Will I go full on, balls to the wall, promoting it on my page? No, because I'd rather do this. I'd rather we talk like this. I'd rather we get down to the meat of everything in life, and whatever subject that may be. Because it's important. It's important for you to feel heard. It's important for you not to feel alone. That's why mental health is really important to me, because it's not just my mental health, right? Yeah, I'm doing this to keep myself safe and secure and calm and regulated, but I have seen enough. You know, my ex-husband was a frontline Marine in Operation Iraqi Freedom, which nobody should have the job to do. His responsibilities were to go through, disarm all the bombs, make sure everything was safe for the rest of the troops to come through. Some of the things that he experienced and had to do, nobody should do, right? So I have an extreme amount of empathy for what he went through in life and what he had to do. I understand that drinking numbed it, but at some point in time, then that becomes a different disease, right? So on top of a mental disorder, having that, and then my mother being bipolar, I have seen an array of things, and that's why mental health is so important to me, because I never thought I would be the one to lose my mind, and I was surely fucking mistaken on that. Granted, I do believe my hormones got all fucked up from the hysterectomy, and maybe the final realizations of everything in life. I'm never going to be a mom. I'm never going to have my own kids. All my baby making materials were just taken out. They were the hard realizations that, I made those choices because I would never bring a child into this world with my ex-husband, because I could never have my child have that as a dad. And so I sacrificed a lot to ensure they made it through life. And a lot just hit me, And when all that was going on, I realized how much I feel like the lifestyle also changed too. As time was going on, I didn't really feel like I fit in that influencer standpoint anymore, because I'm not posting the videos of 100 guys coming out of a room and saying, like, I just banged all these people. I'm not doing that. I'm not putting up the content that others are putting up because I think it's false. And I feel like I was competing for a while, trying to find my space or whatever, until I realized, you know what? I just want to do me, how I want to do it, and whatever that means. And that's what's happening right now. Candace says, I've always told myself, live life how you want to know, how everybody else wants it. Good. Yeah, how everybody else. Good morning. I think that we need to be bold enough to just live every single day and not feel the guilt of saying no or any of these things. I realize now how much saying no is important for my mental health, how much I need separation time when I'm starting to feel overwhelmed and worked up. I'm not afraid to say no anymore. And if you're going to be upset with me because I can't show up to something, I don't care anymore, because I need to keep myself in a very healthy, safe space. And boundaries are important. Boundaries are hard. Nobody wants to set boundaries, but it's something that we need to do. Christopher's asking how old I was when I had the hysterectomy. I was 40 when I had the hysterectomy. Morning, Michael. So, obviously at 40, I know I'm not having kids, right? And when I met Spencer, he was fixed, so obviously we weren't having kids. But it's just the principle and the mentality behind having to own all the decisions made in life and grieve, right? Like, there's a lot of grieving that went on, and I don't cry from it anymore. I can tell the story without being sad, and I think that that's really important. But for a while, I couldn't. For a while, it made me really sad. I got my fur baby. You can see him a little bit right back there. And he's my whole heart and soul. Makes my heart very happy. So, long-winded, where would I be if I hadn't joined the lifestyle? Probably in a really detrimental place. And I feel really happy. As much as in any relationship, you have your ups and downs. Spencer and I have definitely gone through our ups and downs, mainly because he didn't understand the anxiety and how to support me through the last 2 years. It was really challenging for him. Now that we're both kind of on the same page and understand, it's better than ever, And that's why I talk about morning, Bubba, therapy, the Lexapro, walking. These are all tools that helped me get to a better mindset and a healthier mindset. Are you going to the bathroom? What? Oh, okay. What's it called? And these are all the reasons that I started this walking pad series in the morning, because I figured, let's start the day together. Get your movement going. If you have a bike at home, if you have a treadmill, if you just have weights, whatever it may be, put me in your ears with your earbuds. Just listen to me babble and get your ish going. Movement is super healthy. So that's my long-winded, where would I be if I was not in the lifestyle current day. So thank you for tuning in. If there's something that you want to hear about or you want me to talk about, definitely put it down, and I will continue on tomorrow we're going to talk about different relationship compositions, MFMs, MMFs, FFMs, all these different things, along with exhibitionism, voyeurism, all that kind of stuff. So send me a message or comment below, and I'll talk to you super soon. Come on, Facebook, you could do it. Finish. What the heck? My goodness, Facebook.